Well, welcome everybody. Aaron, did we decide what we're gonna name this podcast?
I don't know if we're fully settled on one yet, but we have a few contenders.
Well, what's the top contender right now?
It is Bricks with an X, of course, to maintain brand image.
Of
Cast.
course,
That's what
BrixCast.
we're looking at right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So the audience listening to this, what do you think of the name BrixCast? There is actually, I looked it up. If we end up using it, I saw there was using someone on YouTube was using the name BrixCast for it. What was also a Lego podcast, but it lasted 5 episodes and it was over 2 years ago. So it looks like they're not doing it anymore. So we should be in the clear. But we had some other ideas for the name. Aaron.
Yeah, so originally the one I was really settled on was Bricks Banter, but there was I think it's a custom, like the military community. There's someone in that community who has that podcast ready. I don't know about the activity, but it's still relatively consistent. And also, there's I think it was Australian, right? Australian news site that has a very similar name, Bricks
Yeah.
with
So
a CK.
there's another fan media outlet that has the name Brick Banter. I think they even have a website. I reached out to him. He actually was okay with me potentially using the name. He said he was considering doing a podcast too. He's like, "Are you okay sharing the name?" And I was like, "Yeah, it would be confusing. So we might not go that route because of that. It would be confusing to the Lego community if we go that route." But
And I
yeah,
think having
so
a unique identity is just always a better idea.
exactly. So yeah, guys, this is my first podcast, and I am joined by my co-host Aaron. Would you like to introduce yourself? Because I don't think anybody listening knows who you are.
Well, I mean, that's a little summatory, but that's not a word. But yeah, I'm Aaron. I currently live in Germany, but I am an American. I come from Texas. I have been a member of the Lego community online. I've watched YouTube videos since 2009 when I was 8 years old. But I joined the online Lego community when I was 16 in 2017. And from then I kind of had nothing to do really. I was like, one of those high schoolers who's on Lego Instagram and acts like a high schooler, I guess. Not to say there's anything wrong with that, but it was just definitely a going of maturing. And from that point on, I wanted to go to Lego conventions always, and I intended to go to my first convention in 2020, which was Brickworld Chicago, and I signed up for that, got super excited, and we all know what happened to that convention, unfortunately. And then, obviously, I had to wait. Then, finally, Brick Fair 2021, I was able to go, and I met there Rich Boy Jay, who is now one of my very good friends, and by meeting Jay, I've also met a lot more people, such as David now, and David and I got to know each other a lot better at Brick Fair 2022, as well as Scarebeck 2022, which is a Danish Lego convention, which we'll get into later. But yeah, I'm a huge Lego Star Wars fan. Recently, I've become more into less Star Wars because Star Wars has become a little stale, in my opinion, which I know is
That's hard. That's harsh, man. That's
I
come
know,
on.
and it might be
That's
influenced
rough.
by my relationship with Jay, because I know Jay has a way more hardline opinion than I do on Star Wars, which to his point is quite justifiable. I just feel like it's stagnating, and I've been trying to expand my interests, I guess. I'm a huge fan of a lot of the creator expert sets, which I mean most people are, but overall I just have a wide array of Lego knowledge. I like to think I'm funny. Well, this episode will tell if that's true.
And to everybody listening, there was a very specific reason why I chose Aaron to be my co-host here for this podcast, and simply he's just enjoyable to talk to, and he's genuinely funny, as he just stated. But I feel like the knowledge he has, the expertise in the Lego community, like literally just community knowledge, is unmatched, unrivaled, and so I feel like bringing him on for this podcast is going to bring a different perspective than what I could potentially talk about, especially if I was on my own. So I am extremely happy to have you here, bro. Like, this is going to be a great time.
Well, that means a lot. That's the first time I've heard that, so that definitely is a nice thing to hear. It's always nice to hear a compliment about yourself, so I appreciate that. I think it'll be fun. I mean, I've never done any form of recorded media, with the exception of a single YouTube video, which is not to be mentioned right now. We'll get into that later.
There's some Instagram videos floating around, and
Yeah.
Aaron, you didn't even plug your own Instagram.
Right. Okay. So my Instagram name is I'm not happy with it, but I've had it for the last 6 years? Oh my gosh, it's been 6 years, hasn't it? It's 327Brix, as any good clone kid has their name. It's my Lego boy 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. No 9, right? It's just 8.
It's always been to 8. Yeah.
Always been 8. I'm so sorry. Yeah. It's my version of that name, which I just haven't had a nice rebranding of yet, because naming
Aaron's
stuff
a
is
Commander
hard.
Bly. Aaron's a Commander Bly simp.
I am a big fan of Bly. I don't know why. I think I watched episode 3 for the first time, and my brother, who showed me Star Wars, was like, oh, Cody's his favorite clone, so I couldn't obviously have the same favorite clone. And I saw this random yellow clone murder Ayla Secura, and I was like, that's my clone right there. That's my guy. And then it's been ride or die since then. I don't know why. He's a cool character, but not nearly enough content for him. I remember as a kid when the Jedi Crash arc came out, that was like, mind-blowing, world-shocking news for me, because, 2 episodes, back-to-back with Commander Bly in it. I mean, that's like, what more can you ask for, right?
Beautiful. I mean, that's the best.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we're both just generally excited to, talk about the Lego community. We're not going to, I think me and David and I agree, we're not going to make this a exclusively Lego Star Wars podcast, because we'd probably run out of topics within 25 minutes, I guess, because the chances if you're listening to this, you probably are relatively well informed about Lego Star Wars, the Lego Star Wars community as well. So we thought we'd expand to more general Lego hobby, or just general Lego, not necessarily consumption, but the way Lego is used by different people and such. So we're just trying to have a fun and relatively informative discussion every time we post an episode.
You sound so professional saying this. But yeah, no, I agree. I guess our mission with this podcast is, while we'll absolutely talk about Lego Star Wars, and there's just so much more to Lego, and there's just a lot of different, there's different themes, of course, but there's just different things going on in the community. If you just narrow in on the niche Lego Star Wars community, then you're losing out on a whole bunch of aspects that other communities do. So
I fully agree. I think that I started out with Lego City, obviously, when I was a kid, and I always wanted Lego Star Wars. And once I got Lego Star Wars stuff, it was great as a kid, but all these other themes exist, and I feel like if you're narrow-mindedly only enjoying one thing of Lego, you're not necessarily doing it wrong, because you can enjoy it however you would like, but I think that there's so much more that is offered that, at least knowing about other stuff would be nice, which is why I've tried diversifying my interests in the community.
Yeah. So we'll go on to our first topic, which is just, Aaron, what have you been doing lately? What Lego stuff have you been up to? You been buying anything? Have you been interested in buying something, or are you working on a mock? I mean, what have you been doing?
A little bit of everything. I have as my friends know, I have a notorious problem with not buying Legos. So of course I have been buying things. And just a lot of Lego Star Wars and such. I bought recently a set that I've wanted for a while, which is the Rogue Shadow. Really glad I finally got that one.
I wonder who you got
David.
That from.
Yeah, I know. It came from David. It's a great set.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What did you build it? Did you put it together and everything?
Yeah, no, it's a horrible set in terms of modern day standards and functionality in every single regard, but it's a great set in terms of nostalgia.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the figures are solid. That they definitely would look different if they were made today. But
that Juno Eclipse figure, you can tell the age that was made.
Oh yeah. But I was shocked how much functionality the Rogue Squadron, is that what it's called?
The Rogue
Shadow. Yeah. I was surprised how many functions that set had, because I never had it. Like, I was getting into Lego Star Wars right around that when the set got launched. I think 2007. I started getting into Lego Star Wars, and I made my YouTube, Solid Brick Studios, at the time, Lego Boy 1 through 8. I made that back in 2008, and so I think that set was still on shelves. Although I specifically remember going to Toys R Us, getting some Lego Star Wars sets, and I saw it, and I was like, nah, I want the Republic Cruiser, the dark red ship from episode
Genuinely
1.
a better choice, though. I mean, I feel like it's a
Yeah.
much better choice. Not to
Because
diss Rogue Shadow, but the Cruiser is just its own league.
it, for any of you out there who actually like the prequels, which I feel like there's a lot of you out there that like the prequels, but I mean, that is a set that I recommend a lot of people have if there's like an older set that's like not like super high priced, because a lot of Clone Wars sets like the gunships and ATTEs and any of those vehicles or figures, the prices have gone up so much in the last couple of years, especially since the pandemic. And so one set that I don't think has gone up as high is definitely the Republic Cruiser.
I mean, it's not cheap.
It's not cheap, but it's definitely not as expensive as like buying some of
But
the
I
other
feel like,
sets if you're trying to get some older Lego Star Wars.
for sure, it's definitely not up there with the likes of like the '08 gunship or the
No.
'08 ATT for sure, or any of the like original clone figs. There's nothing in the set
Right.
that's like inherent. I think the Astromech's the hardest to get part, and that's like not too hard. And the build looks great. I still don't own one. I actually came close to buying one in January. I went to a local lug meeting here in Germany, and the one of the people there had it, and it was just it was tempting, but I just didn't want to drop that money on it because I was just I'll get it eventually, right? But yeah, other than that, buying stuff, I am working on a mock right now, a couple mocks actually. I'm part of a couple collaborations we're doing. I think you're part of one of them too, but I don't know if you're actually building anything for it. The Indiana Jones one.
Yeah, I was about to say, is it Indiana Jones? Yeah, I do still want to. Are we doing that for Chicago, or are we doing that
No,
for
that's for
Brick Fair?
Virginia, so we'll have time for that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm
Then,
building
I
part of that, and I think
I
they build part, and then
actually.
also you go ahead.
Oh no. You go.
Yeah, so I'm actually also building for another collaboration that's run by Mr. J. I'm not gonna say what it is because I don't think that's available yet. And I'm also doing something I just kind of decided to do someday, like 2 weeks ago. I decided to start building Lego flags, which is definitely a niche interest, I guess. So there's a group called, well, not group, a thing called vexology, which is the study, observation, enjoyment of flags. So like country flags, city flags, state flags, stuff like that. And
You're
I've
telling
always
me
loved.
this is a real thing? This is a real thing?
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, there's
Oh my gosh.
plenty of people love flags. It's definitely there's definitely not a science, but there's definitely a understanding of what a flag should be composed of, right? Or what makes a good flag, or just appreciation of flags, right?
Yeah.
And I felt, I designed a NATO flag, which was the catalyst to start building the NATO countries. So now I've designed a couple more NATO flags. I built a couple, and I'm planning on bringing those to Brick World. It's not the most impressive mock, and if you know what a flag looks like for certain countries like Germany or Belgium, where it's just literally 3 colors and nothing else, it's great. But it's been really challenging with some other flags where there's like a crest or weird proportions, and it's definitely been a fun challenge. So, I mean, you wouldn't think designing Lego flags is hard, but it has been at the scale I'm doing, that I should say that too. At the scale I'm doing, it has been a tough challenge, that is for sure.
Yeah,
but other than that, nothing else. I'm also just doing school full time, so that's kind of like the main time occupier is school. And then other than that, just Lego.
Have you declared a major in college yet?
No, but I'm probably gonna do not necessarily political science, but something political science adjacent, I'd say, or in that realm, because that's
very far from what I majored in.
Yeah, I don't like video production. I think that's what you majored in, right?
Yeah, so I actually have my degree. It's I'm looking at it right now in my office. It's a bachelor's of fine arts for photography and filmmaking.
Right, yeah. Which is actually, I have a lot of photographers in my family, so you'd think I have the interest, but I just don't. I like taking pictures occasionally, but nothing I'd ever want to major in. But yeah, I don't know. Hoping to get that done soon. And then, upcoming, let's see, what's the next thing I have upcoming? I have a small Dutch convention I'm going to with a couple of friends. I wouldn't even call it a convention. I'd more so call it a meeting of AFOLs in a gymnasium, I guess. That's in March. And then obviously over the summer. Sorry, what?
I was going to make a bad joke. I was just going to say sounds sweaty.
Yeah, probably. Well, actually, no, Dutch people are relatively not. They're probably not going to sweat that much. I'd say not nearly as much as like an American gathering of AFOLs, which is a different topic. But then
It is a
obviously
different topic.
over the summer, we have it's Brick World first, which I'm pretty sure David you're attending, and I'm
Yes.
going
BrixCast
as well.
Chicago, finally, first time for me.
Yeah, my first time was last year, and it was amazing. I mean, there's nothing that wasn't. I mean, I had such a great time with all the people from Empire Lug, and I feel like Empire Lug is just a great group of guys to be around at any convention, which we're going to be able to do also at Brick Fair, Virginia, the two of us. I
Indeed.
think,
Yep.
I'm guessing we're going to go to that.
We're both. Are you a member of Empire Lug?
No. I'm just,
Wow.
I'm pretty good friends with Blaine, Matt, and yourself. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a member of Empire Lug, but I can, like, go to conventions with
That's kind of
Empire Lug.
funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I've never really publicly talked about it, but I am a member of Empire Lug, which is an online Lego users group. And for those of you listening, you've probably maybe heard of Lugs in passing for some of you. They stand for Lego Users Group, and Lego the Lego Ambassador Network recently in the last couple of years recognized online lugs as in like a lug that can exist in multiple countries that like just communicate and coordinate online. And then like when you go to a convention, say Brick Fair Virginia or Brick World Chicago, these communities come together for the first time, display together. And so Empire Lug is a great example of that, where it's a community where members are spread all over the country in the US as well as worldwide, and they come together at conventions for either collaborations or just, in this case, everything's mostly Star Wars. We were just talking about Indiana Jones collab of Mox for Brick Fair Virginia. But that is what Empire Lug is. It's an online lug, and so that I actually really like those. There are physical Lego users groups. That's when people actually like locally in your local city get together. So if you live in like Washington D.C. or in the surrounding area, there's most likely, I know there is a lug up there. Actually, I don't know that off the top of my head, but you can physically go to these meetings.
Or no, that's Baltimore.
I think
isn't it?
Charm City, I think that's more Baltimore, Maryland area, but basically they're physical groups that get together. Rather than getting online on, say, Discord, you're actually going to the public library and just talking to other people. So if you're a Lego fan, you want that physical interaction, then, go for a local lug. But, if you're tight on time, or maybe you're looking for more of a niche community like the Lego Stars community, then, online lugs like Empire Lug are great options. And so, and usually, there's not too many like I don't know what the rules are for getting into these type of things. Usually, especially regular lugs, are you just got to be a Lego fan, and you got to enjoy building and all that, be passionate about it, and that's pretty much.
I think
probably
that it's mainly
most of
just
you.
like a per case, for the local lugs at least. It's a per case of, are you good to get in for online lugs? I'm thinking almost all of them that are officially recognized will have a application process of some sort, where you have to submit a portfolio of builds or a portfolio of builds is all you can really submit in that sense, and kind of show why you'd be a great fit. And yeah, I mean, lugs, like David just said, are just great groups. I mean, I don't think I've really heard of too many lugs where there's ever been like issues or drama inside of them. So it's usually just like a nice group of people you can hang out with that are in your communities. Hopefully, if you find a local one, and it's always great to have people in your community that you share a hobby with, because it just makes life more fun, that much more fun.
Yeah, I agree. So, if you're looking to be more involved in the Lego community, lugs are a great option. Again, like I said, online lugs and physical lugs both exist pretty much everywhere worldwide, which is pretty cool. So you have options if that's something that interests those of you listening who aren't already a part of the lug, which is probably a lot of people. It's kind of like that next step into becoming like a bigger Lego fan, I feel like, is getting into a lug. Kind of, if you want to make that jump, you're that serious about the hobby and and all that jazz. That's kind of what I see the lug kind of groups for. I myself have never truly been a part of an in-person lug. There is one in my city, but a lot of the guys that are and girls, it's both.
Definitely a lot more
like
of those recently, which is a great
there's
addition
different
to
of
community.
opinions. Where I'm a big Lego, like Lego Star Wars is literally the most, like that's mostly what I build, and I do want to branch that out eventually, but there's like nobody interested in that locally, which is unfortunate. So I hope that changes one day. But
I'm sure it will.
That's a great reason why I'm a part of Empire Lug, is because it's mostly Lego Star Wars.
And I feel like online lugs definitely create a unique environment to be a modern day Lego fan in that sense, because I feel like if you go back, 20 years, the difference in the Lego community, or the difference in the demographics, I guess, at least in the Lego community, and how much it has changed recently is just insane. I mean, it's changed even from like 2017 when I first joined.
Yeah.
How much the community has shifted in a different direction, more towards like interlinked and intercommunicating, which is, it's great. I mean, it's so amazing to be able to become friends with somebody who lives on the other side of the world in a different time zone, and you guys both have the same hobby, and you can just be friends over that, and maybe you don't ever get to meet, but you still can discuss with them either in a Discord call or Instagram DMs. It's just amazing how much social media has allowed us to become more engaged with our favorite hobby, for most of us at least, our favorite hobby. And I think it's great.
And a great segue, I just spieled about lugs. That's how I met Aaron, actually, is through Empire Lug. Is like, I don't think otherwise, if you weren't a part, you knew the Empire Lug guys, and you weren't socializing with the group, I probably would have never known who you are, which is just to everybody listening, that shows how far it could go. And Aaron lives in Germany. I would have probably never seen him except for at the Lego convention. So it's crazy. How far, like you were just saying, like how far you can meet people from
and it's
literally other sides of the world.
For my situation, it's definitely unique because, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm not an Empire Lug. So the chance that I was allowed to, hang out at them at conventions was super great. It's because I met Blaine online. I mean, that's the whole reason I was able to meet everyone else in Empire Lug, was because I messaged and talked to Blaine a couple times. And before Brick Fair 2021, which is my first...
And in full context, Blaine is the what is he? The admin, the top. He runs Empire Log along with his brother Anthony. That's who Blaine is, for those of you who are wondering.
Yeah, so I'll try to be more clarifying on who people are.
You got to give context, Aaron.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I met him. Can't assume everybody listening knows everything.
I guess I need to explain a lot more. Yeah. I met Blaine online back in, I guess probably right when I moved to Germany. So I moved to Germany in late 2019, and I think around then is when I first met him, and on like Instagram. I'm saying met him like I met him in person. It wasn't like that. And if I had never met him, my life would be in a completely different space right now, which is just insane to think about when you think about it's a hobby, right? This isn't a career. This isn't a full-time commitment of any regard. But had I not messaged this one person on Instagram, 3 years ago, how wildly different my friend group would be, the people I know and talk to on a daily basis would be, what I do on a daily basis would be, probably where I even live would be, because I would have left Germany in 2020, even with COVID, if I hadn't met some of the greatest people I've ever met in any context, let alone the Lego community, which are, I have a few friends here in Germany, and they are just some of the greatest people I've ever met. And it's insane that meeting this one person connected me to be able to meet even more people, because through talking with Blaine, I was like, okay, I should get more involved in the Lego community. So I found a few Discord servers to join, and then through those Discord servers, I found what I would consider to be probably my best friends now, which is just insane to think about. And
yeah,
I'm not saying it's going to be a universal experience for everybody, but it has been amazing for me. And, if I can encourage everyone to do one thing, is just become more engaged in your hobbies, if it's Lego or anything else. It's just, it's super beneficial to everything around you.
Yeah. No, I couldn't have said it any better. But yeah, what you're describing is just the giant web that develops when you get more involved, basically.
Yeah. It is insane because, I don't think you remember this, David, but the first time we actually, you remember when we met, but we met at BrixCast 2021, and I said, hi, what's up? Because full disclosure, I had been watching your videos for a decent amount of time on YouTube. So it's definitely meeting somebody you've watched on YouTube for the last, 10 years is definitely interesting experience, and it was a somewhat frustrating experience because I went to go shake your hand, and you're like, oh no, I'm not shaking hands right now, and then you kind of like didn't talk to me for the rest of the convention, which I understand why, because I mean, it was a busy day and all that, but that was when I met you, and then the next time I met you, it was different, and we were able to actually have a conversation and speak, and that's because I met Jay at Brick Virginia, and I became almost instantaneously like extremely good friends with Jay to a point where a couple months later I was at his house doing stuff with him, and it's just insane that meeting all these people can lead you to meet even better and even more people. And the interconnectedness of the LEGO community is insane. There's a good chance you could say a name in the LEGO community to somebody else that you didn't know was related at all, and you can find a way to link them. That doesn't make too much sense with what I just said, but it is, I don't know, just what you said, the interconnectivity of it is insane.
And I should preference why I didn't shake Aaron's hand is because of COVID at the time. I was just like, yeah, let's not, so I don't get germs.
Yeah, sure,
I think
man.
I was
Sure,
wearing,
it was COVID. Yeah,
I think I was wearing a mask too.
Yeah, no, sure.
This
man.
was 2021, right?
Yeah.
This is 20. Yeah. I was definitely like,
yeah, sure. We'll call it COVID.
I don't want to get.
We'll call it COVID.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, all right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll call it COVID. Man. That's fine. It's cool.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, getting back on the topic, we kind of just went off on a tangent, and I actually like that. I hope all of you listening enjoy this type of stuff. Part of the podcast, and I told this to Aaron. I was like, I want us just to have a conversation. I want this to be much more raw. I don't want it to feel super edited or anything like that. I just just want to talk and see where things go. And trust me, guys. When Aaron and I start talking, the conversation can just go forever. And so hopefully that'll be interesting for those of you listening to be entertained by.
Yeah, and this is like I said earlier in the beginning, this is a completely new experience for me. I mean, this is completely uncharted territory. Mm-hmm. Talking to, I'm talking to you, obviously, but talking to nobody is something that I have never done before. And
I mean, you know what I'm thinking?
What?
I'm just imagining that me and you are on a stage, think your stage in high school, like that stage, the auditorium stage. We're on stage. There's a couple hundred people sitting down in chairs, and they're being very quiet, being respectful, and they're just listening. And we're just on a stage, sitting down, got 2 microphones in front of us, and we're just talking. And that's kind of the frame of mind I put myself in when I'm like doing something like this, or when I'm making a video. Is like when I'm looking down that camera lens, I'm just imagining thousands of people just listening to me, and like, what should I be saying to them? And it doesn't scare me. You
have been doing it like a lot longer than I have. I've been doing it for 28 minutes.
Years.
I've been doing it for about 28 minutes and 13 seconds. So
all right.
I feel like you might have an advantage in that regard. Just me.
But I mean, that's kind of what I'm imagining it as. That I don't know. That's the best way I can explain my mindset.
Right.
And so my advice.
And I just want to apologize
is,
in advance, because I know that because I am nervous right now. In addition to the fact that I already talk very fast, I might be talking really fast, and I'm trying to slow myself down. But maybe this first episode will not be the greatest for people who don't like listening to fast talkers in that regard. But
I think you're fine, man.
Trying to slow it down too. But yeah, let's move on to the next topic then, which was Rivendell, right?
Yeah. So that is the big news this week. Coming out from LEGO is the return of Lord of the Rings. Technically, we already knew it was coming back because of the Brickhead set that launched on January 1st. I got review copies from LEGO, from the Ambassador Network, for the Brickheads, which I still need to actually kind of integrate a review with. I might integrate that into the Rivendell review, but anyhow, so I am getting a review copy of the Rivendell set, so that'll be really cool to get hands on with. And I'll make a review, put that on the channel, when the embargo lifts for that, which I think a lot of people don't actually know what embargoes are. And so I don't think a lot of people know what goes on in the Ambassador Network. And so we could definitely talk about in the weeks to come. There's obviously some things I can't talk about, but there's a lot I can, like embargoes.
How about you tell us about the sets that are coming out?
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you about all the new LEGO sets coming.
I feel like that's not an issue, right? That's pretty simple.
I don't think LEGO would be
we could advertise this podcast as ambassador network information. And
Yes.
that's a bad joke. I'm sorry. That's not actually what
Absolutely.
this is going to be.
But
I don't
no,
want to get David in
so
trouble.
Lego, when they give us a review offer, they let us know. They're like, hey, we're gonna send you the set, and then with that it says you can't, you'll get the set early, but you can't post the review until this specific date at a specific time. So you might notice when a review comes out for me, if I put a Lego Star Wars set up, you might see other YouTubers also releasing it at the exact same time. That is because we all have to adhere to the embargo date. Now, YouTubers, Lego YouTubers who aren't a part of the ambassador network obviously don't have to adhere to that. So if they get the set even earlier, which is definitely unlikely, but if it does happen, which it can, then they don't adhere to it and just post it whenever they want. So that is technically a downside if the embargo date is kind of far out and like much closer to launch. But usually Lego puts embargo dates at least a couple weeks prior to when the set launches. So in the case of Rivendell, I think it'll be I think it'll be like mid-February. I think is when the embargo date is. So that is, something that all Lego recognized fan media, it's such a weird name, are called all RFLMs. It's the worst acronym. It's worse than snot, honestly.
It's such a obnoxious acronym to say.
RFLM. I just honestly, I just say fan media. When I tell people I'm a Lego ambassador, and I can say that's okay. That just sounds way more official.
I don't know if that's better, David. I don't know. I feel like Lego ambassador is kind of telling on yourself.
That sounds more official, man. Okay.
More official. Okay. Yeah, we'll call it official.
You get more respect for that, I feel like.
Oh, respect.
Anyhow, so let's actually talk about the Rivendell set, non-embargo days, because that's boring. But the Rivendell set's $500, 6,000 plus pieces. I can also actually comment a little bit on it because I've already seen it in person. So I got to talk a little bit more about RFLMs. So Lego, actually the Lego community, the Lego community people, their team, the Lego community team, ambassador team. Oh my God, I just cannot get out words today. But anyhow, once a year they have something called RFLM days. I'm just going to call it fan media days. It's where they invite people of the media, so BrixCast, YouTubers, bloggers, like all those big people get invited. And it's not something that Lego pays for. I think a lot of people kind of mix this up, thinking that Lego is going to pay for our plane ticket, pay for our hotel, food, all of that. To go out to Denmark, and no, we have to pay for our own plane ticket and make our own arrangements to get out there. They just, they give us lunch. They do give us lunch, and they will take us out to dinner, and that is it. But we have to pay that. It's
in Denmark, with how expensive food is, that's pretty. That's probably
that
worth
is
about
nice.
Your flight.
I must say.
Yeah, no, in Denmark you're paying $20-$30 for a dinner.
Yeah, the food was good, and so it actually worked out. So fan media days were September of 22, so about 6 months ago now. And we were out there. We actually got this. Yeah, when we were out there, and it actually was perfect timing because Scarabik Fan Weekend, which is a Danish Lego convention, was the weekend prior, and so Aaron, my beautiful co-host here, was also there for the convention, and so it lined up so I could make it not just a trip to Denmark for fan media days, but I could also go to the convention as well. And so
yeah, and it was definitely fun to plan that. I guess it was a really short time having you there, but I think that I was staying at Scareback with we rented an Airbnb with five of my good friends. 5 or 6 of our, whatever, 5 to 6 of my good friends, and David and Lee, Brick Builder Studios, they came together from the States, and it was, every one of my friends agreed it was just an absolutely amazing time having you guys there with us, and I assume you guys had an equally as good time.
We absolutely loved it. It was
probably
so much fun.
One of the best conventions this year in terms of just like the convention. All the Lego conventions I've gone to, I've found that, yes, the Lego conventions are great, don't get me wrong. It's so much fun. But the interactions you have with your friends there are just, the memories for a lifetime at that point. They are just beyond fun, beyond memorable. You don't want them to ever end, and when they do end, it's just painful. But then you're like, okay, the next one's coming up. Which from Scareback, it was kind of, well, not Scareback, there's another convention after that, but from that last convention of the year, it's always painful because typically the next convention is June, but luckily there's been a replacement, which we'll get into in a few minutes. But
yeah,
Scareback was great.
Yeah, we keep on getting sidetracked, but the reason I'm bringing up Fan Media Days again is because while I was in Denmark, and like Aaron just explained, I brought my friend Lee. He's helped me build a lot of my mocks. So Darrow and the Jedi Temple were built with Lee's help. We've become really good, close friends over the last couple of years. In fact, we'll probably, hopefully, have him on as like a guest co-host on a future podcast episode. But he's a great friend of mine, an amazing builder, one of the most talented Lego builders I know.
It's insane what he builds.
Yeah, absolutely. But I wanted him to come because he's a diehard Lego fan. He's never been to Denmark, and I could invite someone with me. Lego allows Fan Media to bring at least one guest as like a videographer, just like an extra journalist or whatever. And so I brought Lee for that. And so it was Lee and I that went to, under the Solid Brick Studios moniker, we went to Fan Media Days. It's just a 2-day event. And what Lego does is just kind of catch us up to speed with like what they kind of have planned for the coming months, the coming year. And then they also show us, probably the most exciting part is they show us future products. And they legitimately show us, and we got to see Rivendell, and it was incredible. We were shocked that they showed us so early. So we saw the Razor Crest a little bit before everybody else did. That got released soon after Fan Media Days. We saw the Eiffel Tower, which came out in November. So we knew about that for a couple
made you
weeks
excited.
Before that. Oh yeah, I was losing my mind. I was so excited.
And you're a Francophile, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, but and Lego, they told us before getting there, they said we have a new IP that we're going to show you during Fan Media Days. And so everybody's kind of speculating that'd be Indiana Jones, and it wasn't. It was Lord of the Rings, and this was before any rumors had come out on public forums about Lord of the Rings returning with the brickheads and all that. There was nothing about it. And
y'all
so
kept that secret for a while then, damn.
I know there were no leaks from Fan Media Days.
That's
nothing.
surprising, yeah.
Everybody kept their mouth shut. And there was about 30 Fan Media people there, including myself and Lee.
Yeah, so I saw through the window because I was down on the street while you guys were inside.
It was
I had to,
so
look
funny.
up at a bunch of people.
Aaron's not lying.
Yeah.
He literally, we were in the Lego campus, the headquarters, and he literally was also walking the headquarters and could see us through the giant windows at Lego, which was just so funny. I was laughing. So Lee saw him too.
I mean, it was funny for you, but it sucked for me because I wish I could go, but I had to just kind of walk around in the rainy Billund weather. I mean, hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, so we were there, and Rivendell was kind of the last big thing they showed us, and you're like, this is coming out March of 23, and then again, this is September of 22, and we're just like, wait, what? This thing doesn't come out for another 6 months, and you guys are showing us this? And the set they had was final, but some of the minifigures still had stickers on them instead of prints, which was hilarious. Some of them were just not finished
little throwback
yet.
there.
Yeah, it was cool, and I think maybe. Sorry if you can hear River in the background. It's my dog. He's barking at probably the UPS guy, delivering more Lego, of course, to my house.
You buying Lego? I do not believe that at all.
I have a great watchdog. He lets me know when the Lego comes. But anyhow, so seeing Rivendell, the whole room just lost air. We all gasped, and we're like, oh my God, this thing looks incredible. And we all just immediately piled up at the table, taking pictures and all that. So I've already had hands-on with the set, and I've already had months to think about the set. And when we were talking to the team, they couldn't give us a final price. They said it was going to be between $400 and $500. I had assumed it was probably going to end up $500, given that at the time the big inflation had just happened a couple weeks prior to Fan Media Days in August.
They actually happened right after Fan Media Days in Europe.
Yeah, so they couldn't give us a final price because of the inflation increases. So I'm not surprised that it went up to $500, but based off what we saw this week, $500, 6,000 pieces, 15 brand new and exclusive minifigures, plus.
Wait, you're telling me that Brickheads don't have figures?
Oh, I know, right? Plus, everybody forgets there's 6 printed minifigure statues. Those are full-on minifigures. So if you include those, which I think are deservingly to be included, that's 21 minifigures that are exclusive to a set.
I mean, that makes the $500 credit card charge go down easy. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten hands on with the official release set, but like the time I've had to think about it, it is a good set. It really is. I mean, obviously it's Rivendell. It's like one of the most iconic and beautiful scenes of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's so memorable. And actually in my review, I'm going to talk about how I've always wanted a Lego Rivendell set, and it's because of a Brick Fair 2012 mock, and I'll kind of talk more about it in the review. But someone made a Rivendell mock in 2012 at Brick Fair that just...
Is that the same Brick Fair that you interviewed Jamie?
It might have been. I'm not sure. Jamie
Classic
is a
video,
Lego designer. Yeah, I know. And I was like, hey, can you tell me about this Imperial shuttle? It was the UCS Imperial shuttle was coming out. No, I think that was 2011, actually. I think the UCS Imperial shuttle was coming out in 2011. Jamie,
Probably, yeah.
What's his last name? Bernard? Bazar?
Yep, something like that.
He's like, everybody knows him. He's on the Lego Masters US show as the judge, and he's known for the modular buildings. He's a really talented Lego designer, but he was actually at Brick Fair 2011
and at
for Lego Star Wars. And he was also at Scarabek, and I got to give him a hug and say, you're amazing, man. And I got a picture with him.
Watching you fanboy over him was definitely something, that's for sure.
I fanboyed over Jamie, and also Amy, the other host of Lego Masters, was there too. She was so nice.
She was super nice too.
I advocated to her because she was on the Lego Dots and I think Lego Friends team. She leads those teams at Lego. And I said, can you bring back Sand Red? Because like the Lego Dots theme brought in some new Lego colors. And so I asked her that, and she was like, everybody wants Sand Red back. And so I'm
sure they can't even make the filament color anymore. I'm guessing that was like a weird filament they made.
Oh my God, I want Sand Red back as I'm sorry, I'm having a little tandem here, but I want that color back. Anyhow, back to Rivendell.
From Rivendell to Sand Red.
I know, but wouldn't a Sand Red look good in the Rivendell set?
Sand Red would look good everywhere.
Could make some foliage with it.
Sand Red is just a delightful color.
It is. I hope, I pray to the Lego gods that one day Sand Red will return. It's a retired color. I think it was last used in 2004. Those of you who are wondering, like, Sand Red, what? They used it for battle droids, actually, for the Geonosian battle droids for the original wave of sets.
I wonder where this is going.
Well, I just want to say, if you're wondering what color that is, just look at those battle droids.
And if you want to see those battle droids in action, be sure to watch. What should they watch?
Hey, whoa! We're not going to talk about that.
Oh, is that not what we were doing?
I'm
sorry about that. That's my bad.
We are not talking about that right now.
We're not talking about your ginormous Geonosis mock using those figures.
Oh, Aaron, you're going to spoil it.
I'm so sorry.
What are your thoughts about the Rivendell set? I've spieled enough about my experience.
I was dreading this question. Because
why?
And I'm sure this is gonna to shock you more than because the people listening do not really know me, but I've never watched a single Lord of the Rings movie.
Oh,
yeah. So basically, as a kid, my brother, who is 8 years older than me, he's the one who introduced me to Star Wars. He liked Lord of the Rings too, but I just never sat down and watched it, I guess. And as I got older, never really crossed my mind because the series ended in the early 2000s, so I never really saw a resurgence in it, I guess. And I saw the Lego sets on the shelf, but to me,
what about the Hobbit?
I'll let you know it. So I saw the sets on the shelf. And I'm like, yeah, they're cool, but this Lego Umbara stuff is way cooler. And I'd always just buy that with the limited money I had when I was 13. And then the Hobbits movies came out, and I watched Desolation of Smaug, and that's it. No context at all to any of the characters at all whatsoever about anything. And that's my exposure to Lord of the Rings. So I see why this set is good, and I probably will get it because, it is a downright amazing build. The figures look great. I love the dual molded feet. It just looks all around amazing. I probably will get it, but I have never once watched Lord of the Rings movies. And I've jokingly justified it recently as it's too expensive for me to watch the movies. And I'm not wrong there because I know that the second I watch them, I'm going to just go on BrixCast and buy every single one of those sets. And it's going to be a disastrous financial decision.
So I know exactly what you mean because I too didn't watch The Lord of the Rings all the way up until I was 22. I'm 26 now, or about to be 26 in 2 weeks. And so I waited so long in my life to finally watch the movies. And when I did, I watched the extended editions like the hardcore fans suggest me to too. And I thought they were really good. I like Two Towers the most. But I actually really like the Hobbit trilogy. Hot take. I think I like the Hobbit trilogy a little bit more than Lord of the Rings. Maybe that's too spicy for everybody, but
So,
personal
isn't that the one
opinion.
where the dogs are out all the time?
Yeah.
I don't understand the shoeless thing. I'm sure there's an explanation
Yeah,
to that.
it's just like a book thing. I really like it's part of the Lord of the Rings book. The hobbits
I don't know, it
have
just
bare
seems
feet.
ineffective to go into combat against like a dragon wearing no
But
shoes.
yeah, true. Okay, all right. Well, anyhow,
I don't mean to be that guy. I don't see the appeal as of right now. I will probably watch them with the new Rivendell set because my temptation to buy, the ridiculously expensive sets and figures would probably be satiated by a $500 thing.
But my point being is that also like Rivendell's the perfect set for if you are a fan of the Hobbit movies more, or if you like both. Like there's bits of both movies technically in Rivendell. And so I think it's just an all-arounder great choice that Lego chose to bring Lord of the Rings back to do a Rivendell set. And when I was at Fan Media Days, I asked the Lego team, was like, are you guys making more Lord of the Rings sets? Or is this it? Are you bringing back like a full wave? Or should we expect something in summer 23? They said, we're definitely considering it, but this is kind of like we got to see the tests. We got to see the sales numbers on this set. We got to see what the interest is in this, high price Lego Rivendell set. Is this going to sell well? Because, bringing back an entire IP and requires, a whole bunch of money and investment, all that, I guess, on Lego's end. And so they're just testing the waters to see.
And I think that's actually quite interesting because, obviously if you're in the echo chamber of, Lego Instagram or a Lego Discord server where it's like mainly young adult teenager fans who all love that type of Lego set, obviously the perception is it's going to sell very well. But then you got to think about the fact, it's $500, right? And that's a lot of money for a lot of people. And so, yes, you can perceive it as selling well, but I think that it probably will not like sell amazingly well.
I think don't know, man. This has more hype than the Eiffel Tower that got released last year. From what I've seen,
the Eiffel Tower was
views.
never really that hyped. And I'm sorry, like I know that you like it.
It has more hype than the Razor Crest from last year, from what I can tell.
Again, same thing there, David. Like it has, personally, and this is my opinion, is that Lego is just doing too many big things, and it's becoming unsustainable.
It is, this is a great topic for another podcast, talking about how high priced Lego, especially Lego adult theme sets have gotten in the last year or two. And, I totally understand that perspective. I really do. I spend a crazy amount of money every year on Lego. While, yes, I get Lego sets I get tons of Lego sets from LAN, but I still end up spending more than what all of those sets combined and cost would be times 3 probably on bricks and other sets that I need for mocks. And so while it's very nice to get free Lego sets from the Ambassador Network, that's great and it helps out for sure. It allows me to it just allows me to buy more Lego for other things, specifically my mocks. So
I'm sure that the money Lego loses on those sets is made back swiftly.
Oh yeah, I mean they're definitely Lego's definitely still making plenty of money from me. That's for sure. They're not losing anything from solid bricks over here. But that's how I perceive free Lego sets. By the way, is it's it's very generous that Lego sends these sets early and I get them for free. That's $500 I don't have to spend. But that just in my head, that means that's $500 I get to buy a couple thousand bricks to build part of Geonosis or the Jedi Temple or whatever.
Or if you're using Sandred,
it frees up money for me to work on bigger projects. What's that?
I made it back. I was saying if you're using Sandred, a couple hundred bricks.
Yeah, I'm not out here buying. I don't know what could I buy with all that money that I would save from not.
They have
buying
the
1x3
slope.
No, I'm just talking about random things. Like what do people with money have to blow on things?
Cars.
Yeah, cars. What else? Guitars.
Luxury travel.
Well, I do like to travel. But
luxury travel. It's two different parameters.
Yeah, exactly. But anyhow, so I totally understand. There is a sentiment. I I've seen in the Lego community that ambassadors, oh, you get free Lego sets. Why should we trust your opinions and all that? I really try to go out my opinion. I really try to go out of my way to make sure my opinions are honest and exactly what I would say if I purchased the set. And so,
I think a great exemplification of just I guess the honesty it is relatively pertinent in the Lego community is with the UCS Hulkbuster set and how universally trashed that set was, because
it was terrible. And I said that in my review.
It was
this is
travesty
of a
Lego
buy.
set.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Mini Superheroes Today video on that, and that is he is a superhero fan, and he was even trashing, and at that point it's like, okay. I mean, if you're going to make the diehard fans trashy, you really did something wrong there.
And it makes it even worse now that we have this Rivendell set, 6,000 pieces, 21 new minifigures in the set. Like, oh my God, that Hulkbuster had one exclusive minifigure. Didn't even have leg printing. And it is just an embarrassment. It is an embarrassment to Lego to release that set for that price. Like, that is, and the set itself wasn't even that good. I to this day I cannot fathom.
The set was not anywhere near good. That set was a insult to Lego's brand. I'm sorry, it was just.
I don't know how. It was a pandemic set, I think, is what I heard, and like they just things just went through because of they were having troubles. This was something built probably on the computer. And they couldn't go in the workshops at Lego, and I'm just speculating here, and so things got tangled up because of that, I assume. But wow,
that set is, and the price point is egregious. I mean,
it's crazy to see another IP set like Rivendell come out now and just be like, okay, well,
it blows Lego, it out. Even the Razor Crest blows. The Razor Crest, what, $100 more? And
it's $100 more.
You get so much stuff in terms of value, way better than the Hulkbuster. It's unbelievable how bad that set is.
But honestly, I still feel like Rivendell is still even a better value than the Razor Crest, because I think it's it's equivalent piece count, and it has 10 to 14 more minifigures, which but I mean, I guess Star Wars has higher licensing fees, and that is true. I've heard this before, is that certain IPs charge more. Disney is one of the highest that charges, and this is not just for Lego.
I mean, it makes sense though.
They charge the most, and so you're paying that Disney tax. And Rivendell being Lord of the Rings is owned by Warner Brothers. So different IP partner to deal with. So I think that has part of the reason why it's actually reasonable. I think 500 is reasonable for Rivendell, personally. What do you think?
Well, I think that it's definitely, in terms of Lego's most recent, over $200 sets, I will say that is definitely probably the most fairly priced set. Razor Crest, I'd say, is around that, but I mean, $500 for that many figures. You haven't seen a set with that figure to price ratio in a good figure to price ratio too. Like, that is a solid. Every figure is a banger, and there's so many of them, and a great set. Like, I mean, the trees in that set just blew me away for a Lego set. Yeah, and the new plant piece is great. I think that Rivendell, definitely, if you can afford it, and only if you can afford it, I think that it's an absolutely great set to get. And if you ever think you'll want it and you can't afford it, I would get it, because I mean, that set's going to be ridiculous in the aftermarket when it retires, because it's so expensive, unobtainable, that it's just the way that supply and demand will work. It's going to become stupid expensive in the future, and that's so frustrating. But that's a different topic for a different podcast. But I think it's a great set, even though I have no emotional attachment to it at all and no understanding of the source material at all. But it's a great set.
I absolutely. Oh my God, Aaron. There is an owl in my backyard right now. I've never.
I think it's in your house.
No, and I've never seen an owl before in the wild. He's on the ground. This owl is eating. It's an owl, like an animal.
Okay, you didn't get the joke.
Oh, that was terrible.
No.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
I have
it's
never.
An owl.
I've never seen one out. Like, it's 4 p.m. It's like still daylight out, and oh my God, he's looking right at me. He's looking right at me.
Oh my gosh, he's going to attack.
Oh my God.
Get River ready.
I'm kind of freaking out.
You know what owl in German
I
is?
low-key kind of freak out over wildlife. I do some wildlife photography on the side as a hobby, and so seeing that right now, just in my own backyard, that was amazing. All right, that was so on the side. I'm sorry to everybody listening.
I'm going to throw my own tangent. You want to know what owl in German is? It's Eule. That's just a fun word to say.
This is why you're my co-host. This
Yeah,
is the
I
exact
mean,
reason.
if you have any German fans, I'm sure they'll appreciate me mispronouncing the heck out of that word.
Yeah. All right. So
But
we've
yeah,
talked enough about Rivendell. We'll probably talk about it in the future podcast when I have it on when I've reviewed it, and we can talk even more about it. And I'm not going to be
yeah. So let's
surprised.
talk about
I'm not going to be surprised if it doesn't sell out day one. But yeah, Lego Star Wars. We can just briefly talk about Lego Star Wars. You know, recently we had the helmets get released. What did you think of Rex, Cody,
well, see,
and
recently
Boish?
I
Boish?
recently built
I think that's how
all
you
the
pronounce it.
Bausch.
Bausch? Oh, I'm so sorry. But yes,
Boish. Wait, sorry, what did you say? You said Boish?
Boish?
Boish.
It's Bausch.
Boussh. Bow? I'm sorry. That's condescending of me. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
Boish? I'm sorry. It's not a big deal. Leia's disguise. Yeah, I think that Bausch looks kind of odd, but still good enough. And I think of the three, Cody is the clear winner. I know that you like your Rex, but I think Rex looks kind of goofy. I'm still gonna buy all three because I have all the other helmet sets. So at this point, it's kind of like, they look better with more of them on the shelf, which is a very privileged thing to say, I guess. But I think that they're good. I mean, helmet sets are, they're, Jay mentions this a lot, that he hates helmet sets, and I understand why. I understand why they are not necessarily divisive, but a very much, some people don't like them because I think that, as much as I like the helmet sets, and I'm sure you do too, I think that the community would be much better serviced if we got like a good play set in place of that at that price point, right? And that's obviously personal preference, personal opinion. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who like the helmet sets. And of course, like I just said, I'm buying it. But I think that it doesn't feel Lego Star Wars-y to me in that sense. And I understand that Lego's transitioning to an adult theme or adult, product line and stuff. But personally, I don't view them as like, top tier sets such as, a new UCS set or a new play set or something like that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And, I feel like it's now the fourth wave of helmet series sets, and they've made a lot of the helmets. I'd love to see more Clone Trooper helmets, but I would be very surprised if we get more Clone Trooper helmets in the future. But I think we are probably seeing potentially one of the final waves. There might be like one or two more helmets to come after this, I imagine.
I really don't see what else they can make.
I
that
heard,
can look good.
I heard rumors that maybe there'd be an indoor helmet because it's the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. And that makes sense.
I guess that would be horrible.
And
but...
it would look like the Luke Skywalker Red 5 helmet that we got like last year in 22.
Which I don't know. I feel like it's like the buildable figures, where if it's a face or it's meant to have a face, it doesn't translate well.
Yeah.
Okay. And I will caveat with saying that the Luke's Red 5 helmet is a pretty good helmet set, but I think that a closed face helmet is a much better approach, except for the Dark Troop. I don't understand why they made that one. That's just an enigma to me. That is such a out there set to make a helmet. I don't like it. I'm gonna get it because I need to, but that's it. I don't know. I think that
I can't believe how much I can't believe how much the TIE Bomber helmet's starting to go up in price.
Oh my gosh, it is insane. And I bought that one in 2020 at Legoland Germany for like €25, I think. I had to keep on and stuff, and I have never been happier to buy a random Lego set before. I mean, but not having to buy that one is just insane.
My point being is that the helmet collection is starting to gain value, which I didn't think would happen, not for a long time.
The Scout Trooper and the Sword Trooper as well. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is odd.
I'm surprised, and so I think when it initially launched, those first couple of years, I think it launched 2020 and then 2021, 22. Now we're in 23, so 4 years. And I think those initial launches, fans were just like, okay. Now that we're starting to see a much more complete collection, now we have Clone Troopers, and we've pretty much got a good variety, I feel like, of helmets. I think people are starting to see the full value now than maybe they didn't see. I can even say I didn't fully even see the value in them when they first
No,
got
I did not
launched.
either. I did not see
so-
that. I
so
looked one day, the
now-
TIE Fighter helmet was just stupid
Now that I have
expensive.
my favorite characters, Cody and Rex, as helmets, I'm like, okay, all right. Well, now I'm happy I have all the other helmets because, like, I kind of want the complete collection now that my characters have been made. Like, and so
Yeah.
maybe your favorite character is Darth Vader, and now you're seeing all these helmets together, and you're like, ooh, I do want to collect them all. So, I think Lego was on to something in the beginning. Maybe it just needed time. It needed a couple of years for it to really ferment and get acceptance within the community. And I think we're finally at the very potential end of the helmet series. Seeing that is
I wouldn't be surprised if it ends.
A bigger adoption of it.
I think there might be another wave, or maybe wave. Oh my gosh, wow! Maybe a wave or two. I don't see.
I couldn't see more than one more
longevity.
wave, probably, unless it was just a bunch
Also,
of
like,
troopers.
they just seem, at retail, I mean, personally, they just seem a little pricey, and that's not a huge deal, because I think no matter where you are in the world, you can get them
For
on
the fact
sale.
that they don't have many
week one.
figures, absolutely.
Exactly. I feel like, I understand pieces cost money too, right? And they're 700-800 pieces, and it's a relatively fair price to piece ratio. But I feel like a lot of pieces are kind of colorful, commonly used, 1x1 type pieces as well. And it's just, I don't think I ever have or ever will pay retail for the helmet set, because it's just not, that value isn't there for me, right? And I think that's a problem with a lot of collectors too. And I'm just guessing here that, I got $70. I can walk in the store, I can buy Vader helmet, or I can buy, not necessarily, but Mando's N1 Starfighter. And, one has, 3 figures and a decent build, or one has just a build that you display forever. And it's like for kids, the choice is clear. There's one option, and it's the play set, which is why I think Jay is onto something when he says, he hates these helmet sets, because they do take away slots from play sets. And I'm looking forward to, if and when these helmet sets stop being produced, to getting a play set taking the spot of the helmet in every wave.
Yeah.
I think that'd be ideal.
Exactly. And we're expecting more Lego Star Wars diorama sets in the coming months. Hopefully, and I think the rumors are pointing to those being 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, which makes sense. But
I think we'll be lacking one specific figure. But yeah.
Let me ask you this, Aaron: if the helmet series goes away in 2024, would you want to see more diorama sets potentially covering the prequels at that point? Or would you just want to see those as pure playset? For
referencing back to,
because Lego does want to make more 18+ adult sets. That's why they have the diorama series. That's why they have the UCS. That's why they have the helmet series. They're all targeted towards adults.
Right. Referencing back to Jay again, which I'm not trying to say I base my opinion off of what Jay says, but he makes good points in that regard. Of like, I see personally, he hates diorama sets too, but I personally see a much better value and appeal in diorama sets. And I think that if they do start coming out with more of those opposed to helmet sets, and maybe not play sets, that's fine, because these sets usually have a figure. TIE Fighter Chase is a bad example, and that's a bad set, I think, in general. But I think that if we, as long as we're getting like a couple good figures, and I mean the diorama sets have been relatively good builds. The Dagobah Hut was a very interesting, tedious build, but still nonetheless a good build in my opinion. I think that's fine. And I think that's a good, healthy compromise between, 18+, this can appeal to an adult who wants to go to the Walmart or Lego store and not leave with a colorful box full of explosions. And then leave with, a black, a black, like, neutral tone item instead of a kid's toy. Which I understand that. I feel like that's probably the message they're trying to send to these adult fans is, with these black boxes is, it's safe for you to buy this in a Walmart. Which, maybe not, but I feel like that's probably what they're leaning towards.
I mean, I
understand.
I've gone in the Lego aisle and I've seen like adults. Maybe it's the dad with his son, or maybe it's someone in college, whoever it might be. I've seen those type of people looking at the Lego sets, specifically looking at the 18+. It's not just Lego Star Wars, but just like all of the sets. Target has a really good display now where they actually combine all the 18+ sets in like one area. And I've gone in that aisle and seen adults look at the sets and like pick them off the shelf and like turn around and like be genuinely interested in them. And
yeah, because it's more socially acceptable to that adult, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of absurd.
So
and
I feel like the marketing I feel like the marketing is working on the Lego's part on trying to make
and
these.
I've come to the point where, like, when I was a teenager in high school, back oh geez, 2019 was 4 years ago. Oh my, sorry. Back when I
You're
was a teenager in high
old.
school, I know it's ridiculous. When I was a teenager in high school, I was, I mean, I had my dark ages, which sounds absurd to say I had them when I was a teenager, but I had my dark ages right around 7th, 8th, 9th grade, right? I wasn't mind too much Lego. 10th grade, kind of got back into it, but, being a high schooler, I guess this might be exclusive to where I was, but where I lived, it was very much there was no one at my school who had the same interest as me. And it was very frustrating, and it was very angsty, because I mean, high school is high school, right? And it was always nerve-wracking to go to the local Target that's like 2 minutes away from my school. Like, am I going to see someone there, and they're going to see me leaving with like this box of Unikitty CMFs, which I guess that's a different example, because like, why am I buying so many Unikitty CMFs? But 25 cents a piece, you can't pass that up, right? But I think that there is definitely a reason that Lego is doing this, and I think that it's not necessarily a bad reason, but also I don't want every Lego set to become a monotone gray slate, right?
And let me
And
follow that up and just say that I think current day trends. I think when me and you were teenagers, I know I got bullied over the Lego stuff from people I knew in high school, or specifically middle school for me. But anyhow, so I completely get that perspective of like kind of wanting to maybe hide the hobby from your friends. But I think because of TikTok and all the short form content, exposure to Lego as a hobby is gaining traction, and just general acceptance of nerdy hobbies, not even just Lego, is becoming a bigger thing for teenagers, for young adults, to not feel like it's a bad thing.
I do agree, and
the
I think that
social acceptance is increasing dramatically, at least from what I've seen.
I think it parallels the I don't know if you remember this, back in like 2012, when like the world kind of accepted the word nerd and geek to be like endearing rather than insulting,
Right. Yeah.
And then like the store like ThinkGeek came about, and that became a very large centralized location of the word nerd and geek went from the most ruthless insult you could hear in high school to a not cool person, but like not ostracized.
Right.
Oh my god, ostrich-sized? Did I just say ostrich-sized? Yeah, ostracized. And I think that that's definitely something that's happening with Lego. I'm going to say I'm pretty jealous of today's youth who get to experience that, because I wish I had gone through high school with friends who like Lego, because it was kind of grabby. But I guess it's part of life, and you got to move on. You can't be angry about the past in that sense. And I have plenty of friends now. Of course, I mean, all of my friends now like Lego, so it's not horrible. But I think that Lego has definitely helped in that acceptance of making it more mature, I guess, because I feel like it's always easier to justify something if it looks the part, right? And I think that that's what the 18 plus sets are doing for I'm not just saying high schoolers only. I'm saying adults too, because if you're an adult who's like 30, 40, I understand the negative connotation to hanging around a kid's toy aisle and buying a kid's toy, right? I understand that can be awkward. So I get why Lego's doing it. I understand the need for it. I don't think this should go away, but I don't like the Control A that they're seemingly doing, where everything is following that trend in black box.
Right.
And I know that plenty of people are like, oh, black box looks super sleek, super nice. It's cool. My friend earlier today sent a picture of this like new display he made in his house of like the boxes he decided to keep, and he kept like some 05 boxes, some 2012 boxes, and stuff like that. And just seeing like what really got me was like the 2005 Clone Turbo Tank box. Just seeing the action-packed nature and just sheer beauty of that box was insane. And to think that we really don't have a box I would call an equivalent to that now. We don't have I picked this up in a store as a kid, and I'm just or an adult even, and beyond excited to go home and build it. I don't have that anymore. It could be because I have a saturation of Lego sets, and that could be a part of it. But I really feel like Lego's become less loud and creative, less loud and fun, right?
I feel like this is a great topic. We could probably go on for another hour. This is definitely something we should probably do for a future podcast episode, is talking about like box art and just like the feeling of that set. Yeah, I completely know what you're talking about, but we are running out of time. We've gone 9 minutes over our hour targeted
oh my
limit.
gosh, I didn't even notice that.
I know we've recorded so much. When we started talking about Lego, it goes on and on. So next week we'll probably pick up on some of the topics we wanted to talk about today. like most recently Atlanta BrixCon was very recently, but we just talk about LEGO conventions in general. So that is something we want to do on episode 2. So Aaron, any closing thoughts, and also just to kind of go and end what you were talking about, you know, acceptance, I guess, of being able to buy Lego sets at an older age. At the end of the day, I just want to tell everybody, just do what makes you happy. If going out and buying that Lego set is going to make you happy, then I see no reason why anyone should stop you from your own happiness. And that is my advice to you.
And I think that's 100% correct, but then, you know, brains don't work that way. And that's the crappy part of humanity, right?
They're not your friends if they can't accept that something makes you happy.
I
Like
agree.
a Lego
I fully
set.
agree.
Yeah.
We'll get into this more in the future because I definitely have some nice opinions about this that I think will be well thought out and well spoken from you as well.
Yeah.
I don't think we disagree on this necessarily, but yeah.
Well,
yeah, closing remarks in that sense. I just think that, I mean, I hope I did well for my first ever
I think you did well.
speaking of, well, I mean, I'm sure you would say that, but in other words, I'm excited to see where this goes, if it goes somewhere. If you guys have name suggestions that are better than BrixCast, if you don't like that name, be sure to let us know.
Yeah,
Also,
absolutely.
If you have ideas for episodes or something like that, you know, be sure to let us know. We already have a good slate of guests that we're going to try getting on for the first few episodes. And Dave and I are not fully sure what format we want to do. I think we already agreed on an hour-long episodes, which has already been a lie for this episode. So sorry about that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think we're going to try shooting for about an hour, and then, you know, once a week. And we're going to try doing that. I think we said Friday, right?
Fridays is when they'll get released. Is our targeted dates, though. I don't know when this first episode will come out.
Yeah, and everything's subject to change. And if you have an idea or you're a frequent listener of podcasts, you know, be sure to either comment on this video or shoot me or David a DM on Instagram. I'm more likely to read it. No offense, David.
We should be posting this. We should be posting this on like Apple Podcasts or whatever the major podcast things are. And so give us a rating, give us, you know, a like or whatever. Let us, you know.
And we genuinely hear criticism. If you have an issue with it, if you have something you don't like, if you have a genuine concern, you know, please don't be hesitant to tell us.
Yep.
We want to change it. We want to make it better. We want to survive. We know that the common trope nowadays is, oh my God, dude, we got to start a podcast. And we're trying to not be that. You know, we're not trying to be the, we should start a band of this decade, which is exactly what this is.
Yeah.
And I think somebody commented on the Twitter post you made about, oh, should I start a podcast? I just thought that was funny.
It was so funny.
Yeah, other than that, well, I'm excited to continue doing this. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Aaron. We'll be back, hopefully, if this goes well. We'll be back for episode 2 next week. So hope everybody has a fun and safe week and enjoy that Lego building until then. All right. Bye, everybody.
Yeah. Have a good night. See y'all later. Hey, guys. We just want to give a quick shout out to our editor. His name is Oscar. He is the owner of a bricklink store called Mr. Bricktastic. He sells a bunch of Lego Star Wars minifigure parts in addition to just Lego pieces in general and complete Lego Star Wars figures. So if you guys want to, appreciate it if you check him out. Check out our store in the link down below.